Yeah, it was a solid week. Winning a conference series against Charlotte was a good week, and the loss at Baylor was a good game. Yeah, tough loss, extra innings, especially when we had the lead. But it's part of baseball. It happens. So proud of the team to move on past that and play good on Friday. Then Sunday, I thought Charlotte played well. A&M, and if we can get it in, looks wet, but hopefully we can play it, and then head to the Big Easy and play Tulane.
All right, everybody, we're going to start with some questions. Please use the raise hand function of Zoom, and let's go ahead and get started with Rylan.
Yeah, Coach, I just wanted to check in and see if there's any update you could provide on Det. Obviously, a little bit of an injury there towards the end of the game. If you have any update on him.
I don't, Rylan. I haven't seen it. I checked my email this morning, but I haven't received any word on what the status is.
All right. So heading into the Tulane series, if you go back to last year against Tulane, it was when Diaz had the ARBI game after not really playing that much all season. Just now, I wanted to get your take on seeing him having a full season of action and just how he's played. And just if you have any feelings towards that, finally getting to see him in a large role.
D's great. Yeah, we love Diego. We love his defensive versatility. But we saw him his freshman year. Diego was in a unique situation last year. I've spoken on this before, and it speaks to Diego's character. It speaks to his parents and the human being they raised. But Diego played quite a bit as a freshman. He was all conference freshman all conference. Played second base for us quite a bit, and then last year with Norris and Ty Hodge out of the portal through no fault of Diego's, we just went with those guys. They just got off to good starts and had great years, both of them. So we've seen Diego. I guess what I'm saying is we've seen Diego. We know what he's capable of. We love his defensive versatility. We love what he can do as a complete offensive player. Even if he's not getting base hits, he can beat you with his legs, running the bases, and he's fearless. You've seen the way he plays. He plays baseball exactly like we want people to play. Fearless, aggressive. He's a human, so he makes mistakes like all of us. But when Diego makes a mistake, it affects him not at all on the next play. We love that about him too.
JB, I just wanted to ask, really starting to have things turn around for you just in the plate and in the field, back in your natural position at second base. Just talk a little bit about that and how that transition's been for you. It just really seems like you're starting to find yourself again.
Yeah. I think the beginning of the year, I had all this built up pressure on myself and, expectations that really weren't, warranted at the time just because, off to a slow start with the injuries and stuff. But now that's months behind us. There's really no excuse for the injury part. But other than that, the work that we've put in with Coach Hallmark and Coach Aguayo, I've really started to trust that. And being at second base is, just feels like home again. Even though it hasn't been the cleanest, I could probably clean it up a little bit more, play a little bit more aggressive. But other than that, I mean, it's all the credit to Coach Hallmark and Coach Aguayo that have taken time and allowed me to calm down and just play the game of baseball instead of trying to be so perfect and trying to be so trying to reach the goals that I had last year. But it's baseball. There's going to be ups and downs, and you got to move on and persist.
All right, let's go to Mike House.
JB, I'm intrigued by the way your body has changed. And as your body has changed, it appears to me that your hands are coming through the zone a lot quicker. Your pitch recognition is way, way better than it was. Can you talk a little bit about how you've grown up as a human being and as a ball player and as a physical specimen just in the last year?
Yeah, I mean, I think the body changes when you mature, I guess. You know, it's I've gotten into the weight room a little bit and worked with TB here that he's second to none. He's the best. He makes sure that we're getting what we need and getting to where we need to be. And then I think it's just the reps that I take in the cage, whether it's the heavy bat that allows me to get my hands quicker through the zone, whether it's you know, just watching baseball, watching professionals play, watching, you know, the short little clips you find online, and you know, reading about just the greats. I've kind of implemented that into my game, and still trying to do so. But yeah, I think just the maturity over this past year, and how much harder I've worked to, you know, get to the starting point of where I was last year, and then now I'm just improving, trying to improve each day.
Well, you sure do look lighter on your feet and like you're happier. Is that fair?
That's pretty fair. I'm glad to be back on the field for sure.
All right, Jerry.
Coach, I just wanted to ask you about the Aggies. They're coming off a big weekend. I guess they swept LSU over in Baton Rouge last weekend. It's either 31-7. They've hit 80 home runs this year or something like that. What can you tell us about the Aggies other than the stats that we can all see here on the page? How are they 31-7 at this point?
Complete candor, they got a lot of money. And with a lot of money, they can go in that portal and they can buy players from other programs that are really good, and then they plug them into a program that already has good players. And I hope nobody takes that negative. I don't mean it in any negative slight at all, They've got terrific homegrown players. They're one of the top two schools theoretically in a state that has fantastic amateur baseball, so they recruit really good players. And over the last few years, they go in there and then they buy from the free agent market proven players, and you get a team that's 28-7 and 22-3 at home and really good.
Coach, I know Caden Sorrell is their leading hitter by batting average at this point. I remember him having a pretty good year 2 years ago when they reached the finals of the College World Series. What do you see in Sorrell? Have you looked deep enough into their personnel to kind of see what's going on with Sorrell?
Yes, sir. Like you, I remember him from 2 years ago. He's talented. He's one of their homegrown guys. He's a very talented player and does have a chance to play in the major leagues, I think. Supposed to be a high pick. He's got some pop, bat speed. He runs real well. Playing center field for him. I think this year, 2 years ago, he was playing left field for him when they had that team that made it to the final game of the whole thing of the World Series. He was in left field that year, but he's talented. Tough out. Yeah, really good player.
Coach, do you think they have as much talent as they did a couple of years ago?
I think they do offensively. I haven't dug deep into especially their weekend rotation, because I don't think and I hope we don't see them. But yeah, 2 years ago, I remember their bullpen because we prepared for them. We were fortunate to beat them, but they had a really good bullpen. So I haven't done all the digging into their pitching as I did 2 years ago yet, but we will. But certainly on the position player side, which is where Coach Malone and I have started looking, there's no real easy way to pitch them. Like, in other words, there's no, like, we've talked about this before, with some good hitters, you can still find a hole, and you can try to exploit that hole. And if you miss the hole, they do damage. The guys I've looked at for A&M, they're like Sorrell and some others. I don't see one true hole. You just have to mix and go back and forth, and sometimes that means you even got to catch a break. So, yeah, they're dangerous, and position player-wise, I think they are as good as the group they had 2 years ago.
All right, let's go to JJ.
Pat, have you taken a look at, I guess, what's going on in the American? The standings are pretty tight there, and just kind of what's your gauge on as we get into the down the stretch of this season?
Yeah, I mean, short of us having a 5-game lead, which is what I would prefer, I think it's great. I think it's fun. We're kind of right where we want to be. I think we're in first place. So what's wrong with that? But it's interesting, right? Like, I know what you're getting at. I think UAB's tied with us, which is a little different. Casey over there and I are known Casey for a long time. Him and I were in the Royals organization together as minor leaguers, both of us catchers as well. So I've known Casey, I guess, since like those days, which would be like 2002 or something, maybe even before that, maybe 2000. He's a terrific coach. He's a baseball man. His father was a coach. Casey knows exactly what's going on a baseball field at all times. So he's building that thing up. They're similar to us. A little better facility, but not a whole lot of bells and whistles, and not a whole lot of scholarship, rev share, NIL to work with either. So he's doing it with tough people. He's tough coaches, tough players, and a good recruiting backyard similar to us, where he can find some good players that Alabama and the other SEC schools maybe overlook or just leave, have left alone for him. So it's fun to watch what Casey's doing. I hope we beat him in a couple weeks, but it's fun to watch. And then ECU's still right there. They're right there where ECU always is, right in the hunt. Wichita State turned their whole roster over. So I don't know much about them yet, but they're right there. And then Rice had a little hiccup this weekend, but David had those guys playing real well. Everybody seems right there, kind of within striking distance. So it's fun. As a fan, I think it's fun too. As a coach, it's fun. I would take a 5-game lead if they'd give it to me, but I'm happy with where we are also.
JB, from a player's perspective, in the dugout, on the bus, have you guys talked about, this league feels deeper, it feels more intense from last year, or how do you see this league so far?
It's definitely competitive. I've talked to a few guys. We don't have the SEC type body builds, or maybe even the pitching that SEC does, but we've proven it last year that we can beat them and we can hang around with them. And so I think that keeps us on edge, and it keeps us hungry to get after these guys, and even the ones that that are bigger and badder than us. I think that this league is very, it's kind of one of a kind. We just compete, and no matter who we play, we know that they have a chance to beat us, and we know that we can lay it down on them as well. But at the same time, we gotta keep playing our UTSA brand ball, and I think we'll be right where we want to be.
Rylan?
Coach, we talked about it a little bit on Sunday, just the approach on the mound for Tuesday against A&M. Last year, you guys started with Hubbard, and then you brought out Rob and Braylon. But I think this year's going to be a little bit different. You mentioned that you're going to give some young guys some opportunities. Just talk about the difference on the mound for you guys, just your approach going for Tuesday against A&M.
Yeah, I don't know who the starter will be yet, but I would suspect, just because of pitch counts, that we will go with some younger guys. Coach Malone and Coach Butler will have some input on that as well. But yeah, just seeing who's available. Rob's not available, and Braylon Owens is not available. So otherwise, we'd go with those guys if they're available. But it'll be fun. It'll be exciting. Opportunities are what people want. All of us want, and love the guys I coach. Just sitting here next to Jordan, listening to him talk, I'm so grateful that I get to coach him. A bunch of them like him too. So.
Yeah, JB, that game against Texas A&M, you had that clutch 2-run double, if I'm remembering correctly. Just a big moment for you. And then I was talking to Coach a little bit about it yesterday too. It was just a big moment for the team last year. It really put you guys on the map. Just reflect on that and the just the size of the opportunity you guys again have on Tuesday.
Yeah, I think it all stemmed from just getting off the bus. We knew the atmosphere was going to be something that a lot of us have never experienced, so we were just grateful to be there and just soak it all in, no matter what the outcome was. And we went out there and played baseball. We didn't worry about the next step, or we didn't worry about what was behind us. We didn't worry who was coming out of the pen. We were just going up there and competing one pitch at a time. And I think that's what kind of put us on the map last year, and what won us that game. going up to the plate with bases loaded, and I think there was one out, something like that. I wasn't, I wasn't in my mind. I wasn't saying let me hit a grand slam here. In my mind, let me see how I can move the guy from third to home. Like, let me see how I can score and score this run in and give us the lead. But with the training that I did last year and still right now, I just let that ball get deep and took my best pass and fortunately went our way, and I think that was kind of a momentum boost for our season.
Jordan, looking ahead to the weekend, kind of similar question. What do you remember from Tulane a year ago, and what do you expect to see out of this team this weekend?
Yeah, from Tulane last year, I remember that they were pretty chippy. They had a chip on their shoulder. They were ready to come out and punch us in the mouth. But this year, I think it's just gonna be the same thing. I think they're gonna want to. We have a target on our back for sure. They're not gonna let up. They're not just gonna give us anything easy. We got to go out there and just persist. And if something doesn't go our way, we just got to keep going. And when things do go our way, we just persist. That's really the big thing.
This is the last one from me. If my memory serves me correctly, you got walked a decent amount that series. You've been walking a good amount recently. I believe you're on a 9-game walking streak, and most of those you've had multiple walks. What is the approach at the plate? Is there a conversation about your mentality, or is it as simple as I'm going to win every pitch, and if I get walks, I'll take them?
I think I think it's complicated simplicity is the way I like to put it. I go up there, and I'm sure a lot of the team does too, just trying to be as calm as possible. And with what Aguayo has told us and has coaches to do is just we got to let that ball get deep and take our best pass on 2 to 6. And I think once that kind of clicked in my mind, and the more reps I got, the more confidence I gained. Even I think that kind of calmed me down to the spot where I was last year. But yeah, I think it's just simplified chaos. Really, there's a lot going on in your mind in the batter's box, but as long as you can, be calm and just trust yourself and be confident in yourself, I think that just gives you an edge over the pitcher. Because if they have just for example, if they have a good curveball or breaking ball that they put over the plate, that's a chase pitch, and you take it. I mean, that kind of puts in the pitcher's mind, like, man, this guy's really locked in. Like, there's no threats, is what we like to say. There's no threats to this guy. But yeah, I think it just is go up there and just give it your best shot.
All right. Anybody else? Awesome. Well, if not, thank you both for your time. Best of luck this week, and we will see you next Monday at 12:30.
All right.
Sir,
Thank
you.
you.